When we begin exploring boundaries, it becomes clear that boundaries in relationships are a reflection of the boundaries we have established within ourselves. They reveal clarity of our own alignment. As internal lines become less blurred and discernment becomes less stable, a natural question arises. How do boundaries express themselves in a relationship without creating distance? There's often an assumption that boundaries create separation. Many people fear that becoming clear about what is aligned and what is not will somehow push others away. Behind this assumption lies a concern about losing approval, acceptance, connection, or even a sense of being needed. The ego frequently responds by accommodating. It adjusts itself to maintain others' comfort, often at the expense of its own clarity. Agreements are made that do not truly reflect what feels aligned. Discomfort is tolerated longer than necessary, and over time, a pattern of self compromise develops. What started as a genuine attempt to preserve harmony gradually becomes distorted, and relationships start to carry tension that was never honestly acknowledged because of absent boundaries. This eventually leads to both internal and external conflict. The distance people fear is not created by the boundary itself. More often, distance is created by the state from which the boundary is expressed. When boundaries are created out of accumulated frustration or emotional tension, they tend to come across as rejection. Even when the words are reasonable, the emotional charge behind them is often what is received. The other person feels the weight of everything left unsaid. The boundary is unclear and it starts to be associated with separation. When boundaries come from clarity, they define orientation. They don't reject, criticize, or attempt to control. They communicate what is aligned and what is not aligned without requiring another person to agree. It becomes a clear communication of one's relationship to a situation, behavior, or a dynamic. It doesn't require convincing, it already emanates clarity. A more frequent challenge in establishing boundaries comes from timing. Boundaries tend to be expressed long after something has become misaligned. A line is crossed and ignored, causing discomfort and inner conflict. To avoid further conflict, the mind avoids addressing it, minimizing the need to mention it. From there, tension accumulates, and the more lines are crossed, the more discomfort is stored, and eventually, what could have been communicated directly carries an emotional and psychological weight. By the time the boundary is finally expressed, it often contains a charge of every previous circumstance that was not previously addressed. Resentment is carried within communication, creating friction that may be entirely unnecessary. This is why awareness in and self discovery is very important. The more clearly we understand our own alignment, the easier it becomes to recognize when something moves outside of it. Rather than waiting for discomfort to accumulate, there's a clear understanding that something either feels harmonious or not. This clarity, when it develops, the boundaries become simple because they do not need to be negotiated internally. There's no longer an internal contradiction. What is communicated externally reflects what has already been settled within. It removes any energetic dissonance, how one feels, and what is expressed. Another misunderstanding in establishing boundaries is the belief that they require an extensive explanation. Many people feel compelled to justify themselves, offering lengthy reasoning in hopes that others will understand and agree. The more explanation boundary is requiring, the more unstable it appears. Clear boundaries seem to be stable because they're not seeking validation. They don't look for an agreement or require for the other to agree in the situation. They simply communicate what is true from one's own perspective of alignment. The response that follows belongs to the other person. Some individuals will recognize the boundary and naturally adjust. Others may resist it, misunderstand it, or choose not to honor it. And this is where fear of driving someone away shows up. Without internal stability, another person's disagreement may feel threatening because acceptance is still being used as a measure of safety. But we must remember that boundaries are not about managing others' reactions. They're not tools for controlling behavior or securing a particular outcome of others. Their purpose is to maintain integrity within the relational space. Once the integrity is stable, relationships naturally reorganize around it. Some relationships become deeper because they can meet that clarity. Some become more respectful because expectations are visible. Others may transform entirely because they were built on compromises that cannot be sustained. Relationships become more genuine because they no longer depend on self abandonment. At the deepest level, boundaries are not really about separation at all. They are an expression of awareness that recognizes alignment and allow that recognition to move through communication. Boundaries do not need to be imposed or justified because they arise from clarity. And once that clarity is present, there is no need to push against anything. There's no resistance. What's left is a clear orientation towards what is true. And when nothing is being pushed against, there's no distance. Relationship is no longer about compromise, but is built on allowed authenticity. I thank you all for being with us through this transmission. If you like what I share, please like, share, subscribe. In gratitude, peace, and love, we thank you for your support. Namaste. Namaste, Amarit. Namaste. Boundaries. Boundaries. No boundaries with you.